All right, you guys, welcome back to the Hope Ignited table. We are so excited to kick off today's episode. You know, I will say I'm a little bit bummed to be here by myself. Kevin was so upset that he wasn't able to join us in studio today, but we went back and forth about, you know, if Kevin couldn't be here, I really wanted to make sure that we had an upgrade. So for our guest today, you're going to fall in love with her. We really had the best time with Meg. We were able to contact her family and actually arrange for her husband, NASCAR Xfinity driver Kyle Weatherman, to join us in studio. Give it up for Kyle, you guys.
Hey, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm so proud to be here today to support my wife.
First of all, this is a moment. I appreciate that you went all out with the pink, that you autographed your own helmet. There's so much humility in that today, Kyle. It really does mean the world. I think it's Talladega weekend. I know that you're busy on the road, but thank you so much for making time to be here. I know what your wife means to you. I know what our time with her is going to mean to our listeners, being able to share about your mother-in-law. Her mom is just such an amazing woman. So I guess, first of all, what I want to know is, how hot is it inside of this suit?
Well, you know, I've been doing this since I was a little kid. And I'm used to being around hot engines and being out on the asphalt and concrete and whatnot and dirt. So, you know, this is nothing. This is a nice air-conditioned studio in Frisco, Texas.
I think the best part is you're used to being around hot engines, so you're in good company here at the Hope Ignited studio.
I've been around hot engines my whole life.
You know, Kyle, I think the suit's a little tight.
It's a little tight. I mean, you didn't have to bring that up, but I mean, I have been. I'm in a bulking season right now. They told me I need to get a better handle on the steering wheel around turn 4. So I've been really working on my upper body strength.
Who knew you were a comedian, Kyle? Question for you. Why would you bulk during NASCAR season? Don't you want to lose weight so the car goes faster?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not worry about details like that. I got a really high-performance coach working with me, and he just has me eating a lot.
You also have a very high voice. I feel like your voice is a little off. Aren't you from North Carolina?
Yeah. I'm from North Carolina. Yeah, something like that.
I just feel like I'm not very convinced that what size shoe do you wear, Kyle?
10.5 European.
Dang it, that's right. When's your birthday?
I'm Pisces.
Kyle, what's your mother's maiden name?
Does anybody really know their mother's maiden name?
Is this Kyle Weatherman?
I'm offended. I flew all the way from North Carolina to Texas to support my wife Meg for her podcast appearance today. And the gall that you have to put me on the spot and interrogate me.
I just feel like that's not you, especially in that suit. That suit's busting at the seams, Kyle.
All right. Okay. You're right.
You're so ridiculous. You were like
the hottest I've ever been.
You're so sweaty.
Ashley.
Oh my God.
There are 3 crowbars in the other room that I had to use in sequence with each other to get myself in this suit.
Did you dislocate your shoulder getting in there?
This is the tightest I have ever worn anything. Now I know what Spanx feel like.
Can you turn around though? Because I feel like first of all, you're destroying your mic.
Well, that's the least of my worries.
Kevin, this is a woman's suit. Kevin, this is a woman's suit.
Well, I was starting to feel bad about myself because I'm like, I've been losing weight, but I didn't think I was that fat.
Around. I'm not trying to look.
And the hips are really tight, especially.
100%. This is a female race.
Suit?
100.
Shoot.
You maybe.
Okay, I messed it up. We do have a lot of different drivers to support us, men and women. So I may mess this up, but oh my gosh, I have so much respect for them having to wear this. It gets so hot. But anyway,
I really want to wear that. That was funny.
Don't.
That was really good. So all that everything about getting him to fly in and all those things, that was not true.
Crap. I was basically using, that was my ruse.
Everybody was in on this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the producer, and you fell for it.
Well, thank you so much for that. That was so kind. Now I understand why you wouldn't let me in the studio earlier this morning.
That's right. Yeah, because it took me about 2 hours to get the suit on. So we had to leave
sweating.
a buffer time.
Are you sweating?
Yeah.
That's
and this
so
is only
good.
what you can see that's sweating.
Okay, well, we're going
I
to
wanna be
leave
like
that one to
Ross
the
and
imagination.
Friends with the baby powder, when he had to put the baby powder in the leather pants.
Okay, well, changing the subject right along, I do think it's important that we talk a little bit about our time with Meg. We had the best time with Meg Brooks Weatherman in studio. She's beautiful. She looks just like Casey Musgraves. Let's just start there. Mm-hmm. I mean, stunning. But I think the thing that...
What an amazing human being.
For sure. And people may not realize this, and you probably won't even realize that going into the episode or certainly after you watch, but we have known each other for years. Mm-hmm. She's like my best friend that I've never met. And it was just such a surreal moment for me because it's kind of like when you watch maybe a reality TV show and you just feel like you have this really good relationship with the celebrities. I mean, in every sense of the word, she's a celebrity. She's incredible. But I really enjoyed my time with her. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just very inspired because, she's a young woman and already has such a good head on her shoulders. And I mean, can you imagine being in that situation to be like a driver's wife and then having to be watching your husband put all this stuff on? And the reason you put it all on and why it's all hot and stuff is because it's to keep you from burning to death.
Yeah.
And safety mechanisms and stuff. So she's got to watch him get in that car every week and she's rooting for him and all that. And then, if he has a wreck, she's got to have that moment of being worried about it. And she, does it week after week, and she's so supportive online, and so it's fun. We have some great stories that we, today in the episode where she'll talk about that, and it was a lot of fun. And as you know, we already shot the episode, we already had the interview, and so we're doing this after the fact.
Yeah, and I mean, just to give her the intro that she deserves, Meg, of course, is the wife of number 91 Xfinity NASCAR driver Kyle Weatherman, who is not sitting here beside me today, much to everyone. They're it's ridiculous. I still cannot believe that.
Yeah.
That y'all really got me. And I'm hard to get. I got.
Good.
That was really good.
It was worth it then. It was all worth it.
I hope Meg loves this.
Go to skin doctor later.
So Meg, or you've lost a ton of weight. You probably lost like 6 pounds since we've been recording.
Lost enough, I'll say that.
Where does it go?
I'm keeping my diet going.
It? Where's your sweat?
Specifically on the legs, like my legs, this is like a truth meter here because my legs are all right. But good Lord, from about like my chest to my belly button, it is the tightest I've ever felt. It's like I'm in a trash compactor.
No, it's like you're in that waist trainer.
Corset?
No, that waist trainer thing.
You think I know what that is?
Anyways.
Well, I know what it feels like.
Back to Meg. Meg is stunning inside and out. Meg is a professional makeup artist. Yeah. You will notice her makeup is on point the entire episode. Never have I ever felt so incompetent standing next to a beauty queen on the podcast. She also is a content creator. And I'm telling you, you think you understand what a tough job they have. Meg goes into a little bit of behind the scenes of the content creation. It's incredible. The amount of time, effort, energy, and discernment that you have to have when you're partnering with brands. She does such a fantastic job at that. And she is the daughter of one of the biggest influencers of all time. Her mom, Barb, has like 70,000 followers or something on social. And she just is a huge advocate for her mom, who is stage 4. And it's an incredible episode. I think you guys are going to fall in love with Meg the way that we have. Certainly Kyle, we hear some really funny behind the scenes stories about Kyle. But I think you guys are really going to enjoy it just about as much as Kevin's going to enjoy getting out of this waist trainer.
Say, can we wrap this up really quickly? Because I need to go pry this off.
I just feel like it's going to be one of those things. Like it comes off, there's like
you can hear the Velcro starting to disattach slowly, and it's just like it's not hanging on anymore.
Okay, for the smell of the studio and for the sake of Kevin's well-being, we will go ahead and get right into our episode. You guys enjoy Meg Brooks Weatherman. Meg, you are finally here.
Hey, welcome, Meg.
Welcome to Hope Ignited.
I'm so happy to be here.
We talk about this all the time. We are the best friends that have never met.
Never met in person.
And we don't.
Till today.
Today was the first day.
Would you be shocked that we literally met like an hour ago?
But the thing is, Ashley, I feel like everyone that you see, even like Uber drivers and whatever, they're your best friend
That's
within
fair.
5 minutes.
But they are my best friend. In my
Right.
mind, everybody is my best friend. Like, that's the problem.
But this is legitimately, though, someone who you have not met in person, but
No.
yet you've been friends for a long time because
No.
of the wonders of social media.
I have
Now
followed
we can
her.
say that we're real life friends.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
it's an actual thing.
it's
now.
so fun to be like a fan to a friend. I mean,
Same.
we have been your biggest fan for a very long time. I mean, you just come from such an amazing family. I cannot wait to talk more about that. Obviously, your husband is just a powerhouse.
He is.
Like, we love him, love supporting him. But let me tell you, my favorite thing about it is how he puts you at the forefront of everything. He's
He
like, no,
does.
I'm Meg's husband.
He
And it's
does.
so
I love
amazing.
it so much.
And we were talking about this just before we started recording, but I'm like, okay, Meg Brooks Weatherman. And you're like, no, Brooks, I am officially Meg Weatherman. So congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you
It's
so
so
much.
How long? How long you been married?
Oh gosh, I should know this. We got married December 2nd. So what is
Like,
that?
you
4
are
months?
new.
We're new.
Show the
We're
ring.
new
Show the
new.
ring. It's literally the most beautiful ring I've ever seen in my
Wow.
entire
I
life.
gotta wear welder's goggles. I need those
I
solar
know.
eclipse glasses.
Yeah, our solar eclipse. We should have worn our solar eclipse glasses for the ring.
It just blinded me.
That's hilarious. But
Good job, Kyle.
Good job, Kyle. Did he pick it out on his own?
There was a little help.
Like
with
you drew
me.
it?
No, it was. He was so nice. He's like, I want you to have what you want. So we looked through some different, styles and stuff. And so I was like, I like this kind of style, and he got it.
He did great.
He did really
such a good
good.
job.
He did really
but,
good.
Like, take us back. Okay, so you currently live in Charlotte.
Yes.
Thank you for making the trip in.
Which is the NASCAR capital of the world for people who don't know. That's
Yes.
everything NASCAR, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just learned that not that long ago, though.
Well, but you're a new
Yes.
NASCAR wife. I mean, this is still kind of a new world for you.
It's very new.
I think it's so sweet. But where are you originally from? Like, take us back to the beginning of you.
So I am from Charlotte.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Charlotte. Before I met Kyle, I had never even seen a race, which I know that's like, it sounds so silly. And like, I don't know if I just lived under a rock or what, but we were not, my family, we just weren't race people. We weren't really sports people at all. Like, we would cheer for the Panthers, but that was about it.
Yeah.
And so I wish we had a better story, but he slid into my DMs.
Stop it.
That's 2 for 2
Stop
on this
it.
season.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
Like, we got to come up
That-
with something better.
No,
I
that's okay.
love it. But how does he stumble across you? Like, I would love to know that
So,
perspective, right? Like,
we had a mutual friend, and he had posted a picture of us because we were out one night, and we were just strictly just friends. And I guess he saw on his story, because you can see, if somebody tags you in their
Right.
story, and I guess he saw me and was like, "Hey,
It's like, hey, girl.
he's like
girl,
my
hey.
very own Casey Musgraves.
Oh my gosh.
Do you get that all the time?
not a lot. Yeah, sometimes.
You
yeah.
do look like Casey
Yeah, you're
Musgraves.
right.
You do, right?
Who has
I
a
could
new
sing like her,
album?
And
we'd be in
Katy
business.
Perry, like, you're the best of all worlds.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so nice.
My queen.
I'm gonna
I love
leave
it.
out of here with an
So
ego.
what does he lead with? Like, he's a gentleman? Is he like, hey,
Was
let
he
me
using
buy you a
NASCAR
drink?
puns like, hey,
No.
I'm heading around turn 4 into
No.
your world?
My heart is racing because
Oh,
of you.
yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'm going to
Throttling
drift
up
into your
for you.
DMs. You want
Yeah.
to
No.
share some tweaker? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
it could be that.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah.
my radar.
Oh, dang. That was really
Oh,
good.
these are good. He, God bless him, he was like, "Are you from Charlotte?"
That was the DM.
That was it.
That was the moment.
And in my bio, it says Charlotte.
Kyle.
It's okay
Kyle.
though. It worked.
okay.
I mean, it worked. Yeah.
I mean, it was just so earnest.
It was just, "Are you
worked.
from Charlotte?" "Yes, we should go to dinner."
Wow.
Okay, and here's
Man,
the
this
other
guy
thing.
is-
After that, he ghosted me. I know. And after he ghosted me, no, it's all good. We ended up, I came back and reached out to him because I was trying to up my game as a content creator. He was doing that. We were doing the TikTok thing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, we should meet at Top Golf and create some content.
Oh, that's good.
And that's really what I meant
Yeah.
by it. Because I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, okay, like other people, creators need to get around other creators.
Sure.
So I didn't think it was a date. I don't know if he did or not. He smelled really good and he looked good. So I think he might have thought it was a date.
Yeah.
he's
I
like,
showed up in a t-shirt and Hey Dudes.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, oh crap. When he showed up, I'm like, okay, we're giving two different vibes here.
Right.
But it worked.
That's
and then after that, we were just together ever since.
Oh my God. How long ago was that?
Wait, so real fast. Your first date, did you actually create some good content that you can go
We-
back and look at?
Actually, yeah.
That's cool.
We posted something on YouTube, and it was basically the video was just me sucking at Topgolf.
Okay, we're gonna show this right now. You're looking at it.
Insert Topgolf video.
And it did decent. It got like 12,000 views at the time. Was like really good for YouTube, and that's literally all it was. That's all that came of it.
But to your point, though, you will now forever have that video of like y'all's first date that you didn't know was a date. And how long ago was that? When did y'all meet?
Let's see. Next month, it will be 3 years.
Oh, my God.
And how funny is this? Hey Dudes sent us, whenever they found out we were getting married, a black and a white pair of Hey Dudes. Because our thing was like, well, she wore the Hey Dudes.
Thing.
And then he proposed to me in Hey Dudes. So it was like, here's an engagement gift.
Shout out to Hey Dudes.
I know.
We were laughing ahead of time about like, NASCAR is notorious for having sponsorship on everything, the patches and stuff like that. So we were going through all the ways we could slip in some stuff. So anyway, it's a subtle, we're not going to just tell you what it is. We're going to be slipping these in throughout the show. But Hey Dudes, I said My Radar a minute ago. We got
Drive Smart Warranty, shout out.
These are Easter eggs. Easter eggs. Well, you're not supposed to say it, so you had to find a way to say it.
I'll find a way to get it in there again. But I mean, just to kind of bring it full circle, the way that we met is because you were I'm just going to shout you out because I know you won't do it. This is not who you are. So let me be your hype girl for a minute. I mean, you are the sweetest, kindest, most well-spoken, like people are always like NASCAR wife. Yes, true. But you are a freelance model, quite literally the most beautiful model and human inside and out. Content creator. We've checked that off. You are a makeup artist to the stars. I mean, like, don't even zoom in on this. It's tragic. Like, it's horrible. But one of my favorite things about you is just what a strong advocate you are for the breast cancer community. Let's talk a little bit about what brought you to the breast cancer community.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, how long ago was it now? It was before I met Kyle, so probably 5 years ago. My mom was diagnosed with stage 2, HER2 positive breast cancer. And around the time that she went through chemo, radiation, had a lumpectomy, and around the time that I had met Kyle, she was in remission. And then within that same year period, unfortunately, she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. But honestly, as the worst of news that could be for somebody, she had so much hope and so many little miracles, even today, like along the way that have happened and occurred. I call them little God winks, like, you're okay, you're going to be okay. And so she right now is still in chemo. She just had full brain radiation. She's doing really well. She's going to start physical therapy. She's also, or was at the time, like a really big advocate too. She blogs and she's just very open about it and about her faith and how that's helped get her through and get all of us through, right? But stage 4 breast cancer, and it's become something really, just something that Kyle and I are both really passionate about. Whenever he met my mom, they both really hit it off, just kind of like an instant connection, you know what I mean? And so whenever he found out that she had breast cancer again, it was like finding out for the first time whenever I found out, right? So, he's become passionate about it. His aunt also just got diagnosed with breast cancer, which is crazy. It affects so many people. So it's something we're both really wanting to raise awareness and help as much as we can.
Yeah, and y'all do that for us all the time. I mean, like, when I tell you y'all go hard for NBCF, I mean, I don't think you've answered every call to action that we've ever asked of you. And I just want to say on behalf of NBCF, thank you for that, because you have such a great platform, not just you, but obviously Kyle and your mom. I mean, like, one of the biggest influencers of all time. I followed your mom so long ago. I knew your mom and just kind of feel like we all lived it with her, right? Like, we all went through this journey with her, and it's just such a beautiful thing. But first of all, shout out to your mom. We love you, Miss Barb.
Southern Blonde Chic.
Yep. Chic.
Southern Blonde Chic on Instagram.
The best. I buy everything from Dillards because of her. Shout out to Dillards. She makes me buy the best stuff. But I just want to say thank you for like always answering our call, and you guys put your own spin on it. And I think that's what makes it so great. Like, it's not just a Shop Hope post, and we have to show this photo, but it's a Shop Hope post with the puppies. In
Of course,
you know,
of course, with
we're
the
all
puppies.
doodle lovers here. But it just, thank you for doing that. And Kyle too. I mean, like, I know y'all have a ton of brands that like are throwing money your way, and it's what you do for a living. But when you do it because it's who you are and it's in your heart, I really think that's what lands and sticks with people the most. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Authenticity and transparency is the new, I would say that's what the next generation, the younger people demand that.
Yeah.
You know, there's different generations that have accessed social media. I would like to say I'm a pioneer of it. I actually remember in college, we had to use these terminals. It was like war games. It was like this green text, looked like the Matrix or something, you know, and to be able to email people. And we thought that was so amazing that we could email each other on campus. We couldn't even, there was no internet, like you couldn't access
This was in 1890.
It was back oh great, I can't even remember the guy that discovered electricity. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Anyway, but back in that time period when email was the first thing, and then it was like instant messaging came online and all that kind of stuff. You know, we've gone through this really strange evolution with social media where there was a long window of time where it was like fast edits and put out these outrageous attention grabbing social media posts and videos and all that. And what's happening now, and I heard Mr. Beast talking about this recently in a podcast, is that everything is moving towards this rejection of the fakeness and the manipulation that brands are doing, and they want authenticity. And I think it's why podcasts are soaring.
Yeah.
And, you know, so when you go on like you did, and you've been going on, you know, recently and like talking and sharing from your heart, you know, in the car and talking about your mom and talking about her journey, that resonates so much with so many people. And people are looking, they're demanding people who are going to share from their heart.
Yeah.
So do you, when you're in a moment like that and you're going through, you know, kind of a difficult moment with your mom's journey and you're, you know, you're heartbroken, how do you walk that line? How do you walk that line where you want to share what you feel, but you don't want to maybe like give up too much of your privacy?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I feel like anything so Kyle and I, my family, we're all Christians and big believers of, you know, what the enemy meant for evil, God will use for good. So if one person in my head sees, you know, that I'm struggling or that we're struggling and they still see, okay, but she still has this hope. What is this hope that she has? Where does she get this hope? Then to me, it's worth sharing. It's worth sharing that vulnerability. It's worth sharing that moment of weakness. You know what I mean? Because I know whenever I'm feeling a certain way, I want to know that I'm not the only one. I want to know how other people get through this. I want to know all that. So whenever I share that, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so silly. People are probably thinking I'm looking for attention or whatever, you know, because sometimes people do think ugly things. And, but when I do it, that's what I'm thinking whenever I share is I hope somebody else can see it's okay. We're going to go through struggles. Like we have God, he's going to take care of us. He's always going to be there. We have this hope because of him. And that's really what just kind of pushes me to share that and be a little bit vulnerable online.
There's so much hope in community.
Oh, yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
just don't ever underestimate the power of it. I mean, I think for as long as we followed you and been your fans, we actually talked about that video that you shared. And that's probably one of our favorite moments because it's the vulnerable you, it's the real you, but it also is just, to Kevin's point, it's the connector. It's what makes us all feel human because we're all going through something.
Yeah.
You know, so that was such a beautiful video. Oh my gosh, I loved whenever you shared that.
Thank you.
You know, the other day we had a really beautiful ceremony, and we were honoring someone's mom, and I started crying because I mean she was there, and then her friends were there, and I'm looking at them and I got emotional. And, you know, I think as a man who's in this space, you know, it's very challenging to be in the space and to to be vulnerable. You know, you're married to a guy. You guys know what it's like. For us, men, a lot of times we're terrified of being vulnerable in front of people. We don't want to open up about stuff because it really does feel like you're going to get then attacked or something. It's this strange dynamic. And I think that, flipping this around to where people start to share and where they're being honest about it, and then you're realizing, wow, that's actual strength. So I would say that, being vulnerable like that in the way that you are and using your platform, man or woman, is being really strong and actual strength, as opposed to I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do these 5 things because this is how you're going to get the most likes and views and all that. There's this risk, right? Like when you feel, sometimes, like when you did a podcast. So you guys have a really great podcast called The Weathermans.
Check them out wherever you get your podcast.
And I think I love the dynamic that you have between the two of you. I really enjoyed that. I watched the video podcast that you had. You guys got to go check it out. It's great. And you're just kind of, husband and wife going back and forth. And you can tell there's these moments where you're like, should we say this? At one point, you're challenging Kyle, and your husband's name is Kyle, right? I didn't just mess it up. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Number 91.
For a second,
in
something else. But so you're kind of saying something, and you're like, what are you about to say? Like on the air, like, uh-oh. And then there's this moment where you go, okay, we're just going to go for it and say it. And I love that. And I think that's that risk that we're taking, sometimes in these long format things where we're taking a risk.
Yeah.
And what do you think is, what are some areas in your life, outside of, your cancer journey where you really want people to start to see your life more, like you want them to learn more about you? Because that's obviously what's driving the podcast.
You're pulling back the curtain in what areas?
Yeah,
that's
probably. Well, we definitely want to talk more about relationship as being newlyweds, right? And I know I keep talking about faith, but it's just such a big thing for Kyle and I, and it's what we base everything on. Every work decision, every business decision, every day-to-day decision. So I think pulling people in and saying, hey, this is how we do life. This is, we're trying to live according to what the Bible says. Those kind of things for us, that's something I want to talk about. But I also like to talk about issues that we might be having in our marriage, or issues just in general with the sport. And we kind of have to be careful with all the stuff we say with NASCAR. But,
for sure.
like whether it's obtaining sponsorship or having sponsorship stolen from you, different things like that, and kind of have them see like there are different levels of hard when it comes to NASCAR.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really every little detail of our life to a point. I mean, there are some things, where you're like...
It's what we talked about. There's this
there's
risk
a point.
reward thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's some things I think that need to be just kept between you and your husband or wife. But I just think if you can help somebody else by being open, why would you not?
Right.
Yeah.
I
know
know
need
that
to be the next full speed season, right? The next.
Oh gosh, that'd
that's
be
like,
cool.
It's like my favorite show on Netflix. Not to give Netflix an unpaid plug,
I love these
but
sports themed.
Oh my gosh,
behind the scenes stuff. This is so amazing.
Same, but y'all need to be. First of all, you need your own reality show. Let's be
love it.
honest. But if not, let's just get y'all on the next season of
I'm
that.
down.
Do you watch it? Does Kyle watch it?
Okay, so here's the thing. So he gets tired of seeing and watching race stuff, but I love it because I feel like I'm still learning a lot. So I'm like, okay, now what does this do? What does this mean? How does this work? So I'm all about it, and it's just like another day for him.
That's
so I'll
funny.
be watching it, and I'll be like, did you hear about so-and-so with so-and-so? And he's like, yeah. It's nothing to him.
Do you think you're to the point where you could kind of fake? Because I saw the thing where you guys were both, there's an Instagram post where you guys were both dressed up in uniforms.
Yep.
You had the racing uniforms.
Yep.
Do you think you could fake it
Yes.
if you had to?
Absolutely.
Like you could throw some language out there?
Absolutely.
Oh, I love
We
it.
had My Radar a couple weeks ago. It was here. It was in Texas. It was at COTA. And some of their guests were asking me questions. I impressed myself. Like,
Yeah?
I was like, did I just say that? I don't know if it's right, but I said it. And it sounded right. It sounded good. So I feel like I'm definitely learning the terminology and all that stuff. So.
Do you personally drive fast?
Yes.
Do you
But I've never had a
scare
ticket.
Kyle?
Yes.
Girl, you better knock on wood. These Texas cops hit different. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I'm not ready.
They hit very different.
So
Is he-
Kyle-
You'll get a ticket for
Kyle drives like a grandma.
Stop.
That
He
is
really
fun.
does. He's a
I
great
love that.
driver, like on the highway and everything. But I think it's a control thing, because I think every driver obviously likes to be in control because they're the one behind the wheel. And yeah, he drives like a grandma. And when I'm driving, he's like, babe, watch out for this pig. You know, he's just
Backseat
a
driver.
paranoid.
Oh my word.
Very paranoid. Says I ride right on top of people, and I'm like, am I, or are you just paranoid?
That's too
Yeah.
funny.
You know,
He's the crew
so-
chief in your ear,
It
yapping in your
is.
ear.
It is. It's
For
so funny.
people that are like listening and don't know a lot about Kyle, so he's in the Xfinity Series.
Yes.
So if you think about it, it's kind of like the second tier, right? That's
Right.
probably the best way to say
So
it. They
it's-
race on Saturdays.
Correct. So it's trucks, Xfinity, and then the Cup.
And
Cup
so
guys.
is his goal to get to Cup.
Yes.
That's his biggest goal. But I mean,
Yes.
the fact that he's Xfinity in and of itself is wild. Like a handful of drivers in their lifetime ever will have an opportunity to be any of those
It's
levels,
insane.
much less Xfinity. But like one of the things I was curious about, because we just don't know this. I mean, it is kind of a behind the curtain perspective, but the sponsorship side of it, we're seeing that more on the Netflix documentaries. And how hard is that? I mean, does he have to find his own sponsors?
So he has people helping. I've tried to help. I still try to help. He has some people who are working for him, trying to find that. And then some of the teams even have partners as well that they just have a relationship with, and it's just a known fact. Okay, this sponsor is with this team. Yeah, it's so crazy. It's all about who you know, which I'm learning so much of. It's so much about who you know and building those relationships. And one thing I told Kyle is, now that we're married and I'm part of this thing, I really want it to be genuine. I don't want it to be, hey, let's become friends so we can rep your brand and I have a ride. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
I don't think that's right. I don't think God honors that. I think you want who God has for your life, for your business. I prayed that God would protect him and us from anybody who's not, we're not supposed to be. Because I never, and I don't know about him, but I never want it to be, oh, this is my sponsor, period. Like I want to be building relationships with people and helping them with life and doing life with them. It's not just, this guy's on my car this weekend, I got to, do a good job. Because I feel like if that, and there's so much of that in NASCAR that it's just like, it's almost crazy, like how much it's just business, or the way they treat people is just business. Not NASCAR as a whole, just some of the people involved.
Right.
And it blows my mind that they can get away with, doing somebody dirty for a business move.
That's just not who you are, though. To
I
your
just-
core, you can't.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. And so I told Kyle, I was like, we need to pray over every sponsor. We need to pray that God protects us. We need to, make sure it's somebody you would want to represent anyways, not just, oh, it's money, so we're going to represent this company of whatever, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's hard though. It's hard. And other teams will try and take sponsors, and that's like, that's the kind of dirty
yeah.
I mean.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
word.
why would people do that? But they do it, and it's crazy.
I mean, you got to think that if that happens, it wasn't meant for y'all anyways.
That's exactly
It's
what I
easier
said.
said than done in
It
that
is.
moment. But
Yeah.
I mean, literally, Kevin does this, and I'm not going to toot your horn too loud, but you're the best at that. I mean, like your discernment and the way that you can look at somebody for NBCF and just say, look, this could be a bazillion-dollar partner, but it does not make sense for us. It's the brand integrity. It's making sure that, the financial stewardship is there, and just like you do a fantastic job at that. There are so many people I've thrown in front of you, and you're like, Ashley, no.
Well, it's a short-term gain, long-term pain.
Yeah.
I think if you've done it, I mean, I've been with the foundation since it started, in 1991, as a teenager.
Before
because
any of
my
us were
family.
born.
But like with the organization for the last 20 years, full time, and you see over time when you make those plays, we've tried not to, but if there's ever a time where you kind of go, yeah, and you compromise your values a little bit, then it will always come back to burn you. And I think just as a Christian, that's how I feel, that it's ultimately I'm trying to please one, but when you're in these situations, like let's just say that you had a sponsor that came along and you have feelings against what they do, but they're going to give you a sweet ride. What does that conversation look like with you and Kyle?
Ooh, who has to say no?
I
Do you
know.
rock, paper, scissors? Like,
Yeah,
you
we
say
just-
no.
all
No, you
right,
say
do
no.
it. I feel like if that were to happen, I know we would talk about it, because we would talk about everything when it comes to business decisions. But I think if we were to talk about it and pray about it together and ask God to lead us, then that's what we would do. And if it ended up being a no, like a hard no, I've told him this, I'll be happy to go with you to tell them no and not be, you don't have to be a jerk. And that's one thing I think is big just in general. You don't have to, saying no doesn't have to be a mean or a jerk thing. Like you can say, we appreciate this, but it just doesn't really align with my brand. And that's kind of something that he's gotten really good about doing and saying is I don't want that to represent, I don't want to represent that because it doesn't represent me. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So being able to say no in a polite way is definitely how we handle that.
Y'all are good at it too.
I don't think so.
I want to know y'all are.
We're both people pleasers, so we're like, I'm so sorry, but no.
It's a no thank you,
No,
right?
thank you.
You're so good at that. I mean, it's just who you are. One of the questions I have been so excited to talk to you about is like I watch him nonstop now because of you. I want to like support my fam, right? But what are your nerves like during a race? Like you want to talk about one of the most dangerous sports in the entire world. I mean, like, what is that like for you when you, I mean, how do y'all pray before you go out? Are you just like sweating the entire time that you're up? Like, how does it work?
Like you saw him have an accident somewhere recently, right?
Last weekend.
Okay, so this is so crazy, and I'm probably going to get so much junk for this, but I become like a different person on the pit box, and I've said this before. I don't know if I'm just like, have some issues or what, but okay, let me just go over. So before the race, we always go to chapel. They have chapel. It's about 15 minutes. It's with MRO, Motor Racing Outreach. It's awesome. They do a short message, and then afterwards, he goes, he changes, we pray. He gets in the car, and then I don't know what comes over me, but like I said, I become a different person. I'm like, it's go time. When we first were dating, I was nervous because I was like, these are not safe. Because again, I had never been around it. And he took me to the shop, showed me his Hans device, showed me that the car is actually more like a cage. And seeing a lot of wrecks over the past couple of years and guys just getting out and walking out has really helped. I'm kind of like, okay, he's fine. But now I get mean.
It's a competition. You must be fun on board game night.
Oh, the adrenaline.
It's bad. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, Jesus loves everybody. We have to love everybody. Why am I yelling at this man who doesn't even know who I am? You know what I mean?
Well, and the fights. They're like,
oh my gosh.
Did you see this? Like Duke, Kyle went from NASCAR to boxing in 2.5. Like, that was wild.
I'm not ready.
That was so
like,
crazy.
what have I signed up for? No, just kidding. It's crazy.
You've told me some crazy stories, but like, but do you find yourself like, are your nerves just shot during that?
I get nervous for him. I get nervous about, because I know he works on his car during the week. So I get nervous about him getting in a wreck because of all the hard work his team and him have put in and him having a good finish that he deserves.
Right.
So that's what I get so nervous about. I don't get nervous so much about his driving or him having a wreck. I get nervous for what the turnout's going to be. That's what I get nervous for. Now, about a year ago, I'd be nervous about all of it, but now I'm just kind of like, God, please give us a good finish. You know what I mean? Keep him safe. Like, don't let his car get wrecked. That kind of thing.
Yeah, God's working on you. I see it. You're getting that strength when you need it the most.
Is Kyle really good at fixing cars at the house? Like, does he work on his own cars?
I think
cars?
He's one of he doesn't change his own oil or anything, but like, if I think something's wrong with my car, he knows exactly what it is.
That's
so
awesome.
he goes into, I'm trying to picture this. He goes into the mechanic shop. You know how they're always trying to rip you off or whatever, right? And, And then they're like, oh, you're going to need a new gasculator.
Not if you have a Drive Smart warranty.
Well, very good. Oh, that's a good one.
That was good.
Ding, ding, ding. We got another one. But yeah, you go in there and, Kyle goes in there and they're like trying to pull some fast one. He knows.
Oh,
and
he knows.
He's like, oh, by the way, I'm not just some schmuck off the street.
Yep, exactly.
I'm Kyle Weatherman.
I wouldn't tell anybody. I would literally just keep it in my back pocket until I couldn't,
I hate going to get anything done in my car. I don't know why it makes me anxious because I'm like I said, I'm a people pleaser. So I can't say, no, I don't need that. I don't need a new gas cap. I don't know. So I'll call him and he'd be like, no, let me talk to them. And I'm just like a little kid, I'm like, here, talk to my husband. And it's good.
That's
that's like having Michael Jordan talk to your coach or something. Give me the phone, and they're going, what drills are you having them run?
Quite.
That didn't even seem fair.
Literally,
it definitely helps with my anxiety.
Well, I love to hear that he slid into your DMs. I mean, we've talked about it. Model, makeup to the stars. When did you know personally that you were good at those things? Like, at what point are you like, I could really pursue modeling. I could pursue makeup full time.
Honestly, I still don't feel like I'm good. I feel like I feel like I'm growing I don't think anybody ever really feels like they've arrived, you know, but I was doing makeup. Gosh, I used to do it for my friends in high school. It was just something I loved to do. Right. Yeah. So that was just kind of, YouTube videos. I took a couple lessons and I just did it. And then more people would ask me to do it. So I was like, okay, I can't be terrible at it. So I'll do it. And then with modeling, oh gosh, I really don't know. That's a fake it till you make it thing. But that is all that is.
Kevin's wife is a model. She's stunning inside and out. But I feel like there's probably a lot of stories that you guys could tell about just like that industry and how crazy it is.
It's a crazy industry.
It is.
It's funny when my wife early on, shout out to Amanda, early on, whenever she'd gotten represented and was starting to do some, it was print, runway modeling, whatever. And she had a lot of self-esteem connected to concerns about her walking, runway. And for whatever reason, I'm like, well, I'll show you what to do.
Stop.
And I literally put on, this is like, I wish it was documented only in the sense so I could just sit here and make fun of myself.
Cut to the tape.
It's not. I would have burned it all. But I was like, I had a Beyonce song on and I started saying, this is what you do, and I'm like walking down there, and we worked on it together. I was like looking up YouTube videos on it, and then my feed was destroyed for a while. They're like, oh, here's this guy who likes football and runway modeling.
Okay, but that's the best because Kyle's very similar. Because I've asked him, can I practice this look on you? We have not done it yet, but he told me I could practice makeup on him.
That needs to be a podcast episode. Quite literally, you're doing it
Kyle,
during the episode.
You're going to see this, and I'm going to tell you that investment I made in my wife, it was the best thing I did in my marriage. I'm just saying, it did not have the
happy
effect.
Wife, happy life.
It's so good, though. It's so nice to have, your husband, who is your best friend, actually come through and be interested in your stuff, too.
Yeah.
It's great, and it makes it so fun.
I love it.
I love it, too.
It's so cool because I know probably for a long time you're like, well, I'm his wife, but I feel like he's so good about no, I'm her husband. He's so kind to you, and really it's been so fun to watch. One of my favorite things that I've seen lately, and maybe one of your biggest stages so far, is you were invited to do the prayer before the NASCAR race.
I was so nervous.
How does that happen? Who reached out to you? What was it like?
So I told you we go to MRO almost every weekend. It's like our mini church, and it's just a community of NASCAR that comes together and has a little message. Well, one of the chaplains asked me to do it. And what's so crazy is he asked me to do it when I was having a really hard week with my mom. And I told him that, and he was like, well, maybe this is just a God wink. You know what I mean? And it was just I'm in a tear. It was just such a sweet moment and gesture, and it was perfect timing. And I was so nervous. Y'all. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I get up there? Because NASCAR fans are ruthless. And I'm like, what if I get up there and I fall? I'm going to be a meme for the next year. You know what I mean? So, but I didn't fall.
No, it was so good. My entire family taped it. My mom's like, send it to cassette. Yeah. I come from a very big NASCAR family, but my aunts in Arkansas were recording it and my mom recorded it. And the other day my mom was like, do you mean to save this on the TiVo for you or can I delete it? And I'm like, girl, you better save it. But we were so proud of you. And it was just, it's almost like you're so good at your faith journey is so strong and that's who you are as a person. But girl, you turned it on. You were looking good. You sounded good.
So much makeup on.
No, I was so proud of you.
Conceal, don't feel.
Thank you.
I
It was so good. It was honestly one of my favorite moments for you.
It was really special for me too. It really was.
So one of the things we were curious about, your favorite NASCAR driver that you've met outside of Kyle, obviously, but is there anybody that you've met that you've just been like, what? First of all, holy crap, I can't believe I just met them. But second of all, maybe they took you by surprise.
Oh gosh, let me think. I haven't really met anybody. Isn't that awful?
Well, because you're praying or because you're up in the pit box,
praying
right?
For them.
Yeah.
Who have I? I've met his partners, some of his teammates, Josh Bilicki.
Jesse Awuji.
Jesse.
Right? Yeah, we had him
Jesse's
on the podcast.
The best.
Jesse's
We love
the
Jesse.
best.
Hi, Jesse.
He's he has so much going on, and it's the coolest thing. It's okay, you're a race car driver, but you're also a businessman. He's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I know there's some I want to meet, but
Like who?
Okay, so this is so bad.
No, tell us who you want to meet. We're going to shout them out.
Okay, I want to meet Kyle Busch, because everybody is always giving him a hard time and they say he's such a jerk. And I just want to have just a normal conversation and see what he's like. Oh, I did meet Kurt Busch. We actually painted the wall pink with him in Charlotte, which is really cool.
So is he in the booth now, right? Is he doing the broadcasting or is he still racing?
I don't know. I did meet Dale.
Okay.
I met Dale Earnhardt.
Amazing.
He was nice.
So cool.
He was nice.
He speaks like you. You'll have to have subtitles when you talk, just like
my
me.
gosh. Yes.
Oh, Junior.
Hey, y'all.
Says the Louisiana girl.
I just said like me. We all have to have subtitles.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like a brief, hey, Dale, I'm Meg. Hi, Meg.
That's
Bye.
Talk to us about painting the wall, because that's a really cool story.
Oh, it was so my mom was able to come with us. My now stepdad, who is just an answer to prayer, and Kyle and I, we got little, I don't know what they're called, but the little pink t-shirts.
Yeah.
And they just gave us paint, and we painted the whole pit wall pink. And it was
really cool.
So cool.
Do they do that every year? Is that an annual event? Very cool.
I'm like, we're going to be doing this every year. I hope you know.
NASCAR
we will be there.
Such a great, over the years of the sports, of all the major sports, NASCAR has been one of the ones that has been the most supportive during October.
Yeah.
I mean, we did stuff in Talladega years ago. We won. The NBCF car was sponsored by Best Buy, and Matt Kenseth drove it.
Oh, wow.
And he won Talladega.
The NBCF car won.
That's
we'll show
amazing.
you. We're here at our headquarters, our studios at the National Breast Cancer Foundation headquarters, and we have the back of the car on the wall.
That's so cool.
The funny thing is, they actually donated. The Roush Racing was the owner of the car, and they said, "Hey, when the season's over, do you guys want the car?" It sans the engine.
Jack Roush tells you, would you like to have this NASCAR? And Kevin was probably like, I'll take 12.
But we were arguing over like who has room for it. And I'm like, do I put it in my garage? I'm like, I don't know. Like I was like, can I? And I talked to my wife, and I remember going in, and it was like, I've never wanted anything more in my life than just for a week. Can I have the car, a NASCAR in the garage?
Quickest no she ever gave you.
And she's like, and we're like, yeah, it's not practical. So we just literally settled for sawing off the back end of it, and we put it on the wall.
That's so cool.
We've got the bumper. Yeah,
That's
and
so
the
cool.
suit and his suit.
And we got the suit and that kind of thing.
That's
but
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
NASCAR's
so
really
cool.
showed up for NBCF over
They
the
have.
years.
They've been so good to us. And I think a lot of it is because it's really just led by the teams. You know, the teams and drivers can have a passion, and there's a lot of control. I think that's what's really cool.
Yeah.
The part we were decrying earlier about business and all that is actually what gives them the people like latitude to do it. Because I know like with NFL and NBA and all them, they have to comply. It really has to come from the central authority. And then, then the teams are allowed to maybe do a few things here and there.
Yeah.
But NASCAR has been great. So I'm
I
very
know the
supportive.
Cup cars, they have during October the pink window nets, which I think
cool.
I think that was Kurt Busch.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't want to be wrong, but I think that was
Yeah.
Kurt Busch. And I wish Xfinity could get the pink nets, because I'm like, that's so cool.
That's
We
a
want
neat
that
little
too.
thing.
Well, we'll just put it out there. If we put
Yeah.
it into the universe, maybe it'll happen.
Maybe.
Well, before we let you go, something that's really important to us that we kind of ask all of our guests, and I just am so excited to hear your heart on this, but what does hope mean to you?
Oh gosh. Hope for me means looking forward, and looking forward in positivity. Because when you have hope, you have peace and positivity to keep going. So that's what hope means.
Oh
to
my
me.
gosh, that's so good. I knew that you would
And you
have a
live
perfect.
that.
You
I
do
try
live
to.
that.
It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy.
It's who you are. Is there
Thank you.
anything else, Meg, before we go today that maybe you want people to know, or
Just an encouragement to anyone, any young women
Just
or young men?
honestly, and I know it sounds so preachy, but Jesus is the ultimate source of hope. And if you have Jesus, then you have all the hope in the world. And it may not turn out the way you want it to, and it may be hard, but you will get through it because you have living hope through him.
Oh, that's so special. Well, hey, next episode we have to have Kyle on.
Oh, yes.
We have to have Miss Barr. We got to have your mom on.
Yes.
We'll just have the whole family.
Yeah, I'll just have a big family thing.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yes.
I think we'd have a blast. And also, I want to make sure we get some shout outs. Like, you got a lot going on. I know everybody hates doing self-promotion, so we're asking, you got to give us the goods. Where can we find you guys? What should we be paying attention to
Yeah,
right now?
Kyle Weatherman, Meg Weatherman, Instagram, the Weatherman's podcast. That's where you'll find everything.
Southern Blonde Chic.
Southern Blonde Chic. That's my
Yes.
mama. Keep her in your prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
perfect.
definitely will.
And
Well,
Kyle's aunt, as well.
Oh, yes. Scott. What's her
Leanne.
name? Yeah. Okay. We'll be praying
Leanne.
for her as well. That's amazing. Well, I'm telling you, we've got our fan base. They are a faith-rooted community that will keep them in their thoughts. And we know that everything is founded on hope. So thank you for the time. It's Texas Motor Speedway weekend.
Yes.
We're going to be rooting for Kyle on
go
Saturday.
get him, Kyle.
You got amazing weather this weekend. We're
Yes.
going to really show off for y'all. But make sure that y'all tune in to watch Kyle, and we're going to be celebrating a big victory. I feel it in my bones.
Yes, amen. Claim it.
Yes, we'll put that out into the universe too. But thank you for your time. I know
Thank
how
you.
busy you are, but it means the world to us that you spent time with us. And you guys, thank you so much for another great episode. We'll see you next time at the Hope Ignited table.
Thank you guys. See you soon.